how that that loop is going, and hopefully that does not continue. So welcome to our first session, and it could be a train wreck, but we're hoping not. And you can see we've got some quick aims today to work through. And as we're getting started and waiting for a few more people to join, if you want to use the chat in the YouTube Live, go ahead and introduce yourself, or tell what you've been doing today. If you want to, tell another story, but let's give you guys a minute to figure out how to use that chat feature. And Bunny and Diane will be helping us today moderate that chat. So occasionally we'll stop and see how things are going. If you need to pause, please do, and we will make sure to honor your questions or anything that's going on that side of things. Bunny, everything still looking good over there?
Looks good to me, Carrie.
All right, thumbs up. And so let's get started. It's 4 o'clock. What we would like you to do so that you can follow along throughout today's session is you'll see the slides. So where it says access slides here, if everyone will open up your own copy of those slides. Okay, this link is also in our scope and sequence. So if you're in the scope and sequence document, you can get to it here as well. All right, so you can either type in this bit.ly to get to our slides, or in the scope and sequence, you'll click on the presentation slides link. Okay, give everybody a minute to get that going. And while we're opening that up, you can see that our aims for today is just get acquainted with the course and each other, as well as to work with some of the week 1 content in a collaborative setting, because one of the activities we'll be doing is best when done with a group. So, and that is that question formulation technique. And we're also going to do a Q&A throughout so that we can provide you with the most support you can, especially as we get started with the course. So let's take a quick minute to introduce another one of our facilitators. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a minute and let Bunny introduce herself, and then I'll introduce myself as well. So we're going to stop screen sharing and let's take a look. So I'm going to mute my mic, Bunny, and let you introduce yourself.
Okay, hello, I'm Bunny Harris. I'm from Chattahoochee, Flint, Risa, in Ellaville, Georgia, and I am enjoying the course so far. I particularly enjoyed the outrageous introductions. It was fun.
Thank you, Bunny. I enjoyed yours. And if you haven't watched Bunny's yet, please do, because she has some really great news that she shared on there and a really fun story. So I don't want to ruin it for her though. And I'm Carrie Sigmund, and I am here in Athens, and I too have really enjoyed the outrageous introductions. It gives me a glimpse into the creative nature of some of you, the analytical nature of some of you, and so it's going to be a lot of fun with you all this semester, these next 3 weeks. Diane Griffin is also a facilitator, and we're waiting on her to join up, as well as Sharita Habersham, and she's going to join up. And then Lisa Burkhalter is also one of the facilitators, and she'll be joining up with us as soon as she's done with 2 big events down in Savannah that she has going on today and tomorrow. So we are excited to have you in our class, and like I said, we are here to learn together, and so we're going to use a few different tools to help with that. So to get back to our session for today, let me screen share again. And oops, not that one. Try again. Yeah. And what we're going to do next is take a look at why we're here. All right. So the main question that we are hoping to address here is, questioning and online search skills and how those can move students forward. This group of EdTech leaders from the Georgia RESAs worked together this year to really find some resources and some ideas to share with you guys, because we really want to develop skills in our students. And we wanted to present something that was beyond just a digital tool. So we wanted to offer a course that dealt with skills that could help make our students lifelong learners, whether they were 3rd grade or 12th grade, or adult learners, which we have many adult teachers in here. So you can see for yourself the aims that we followed as we were developing the course. And if we look down at the bottom one, that we are hoping to use technology to redefine learning experiences. And what you'll work with during the new content part of the course is a HyperDoc. And we're hoping to model the use of that as digital lesson design and embedding some digital tools that we like and some online collaboration tools that we think are powerful. So we're going to talk about inquiry, we're going to talk about collaboration, digital literacy, digital information literacy. So we've got a lot to do in the course, and we developed this to be like a mini unit. And so we can't cover the whole breadth of inquiry in the classroom or information literacy. So we're really going to depend on this group to help develop the skills as well as the expertise in this group. So while we are looking at those aims, you'll see here in the chat, it says to please share what you hope to seek and find in this course. So why did you register? Or why are you here today? What is it you hope to get out of this course? So we'll take a minute to give you guys some time to chat it up. Bunny, how's the chat going?
Well, I've lost the chat right now because I'm looking at it through the Hangouts. So Diane, is she here?
No, it doesn't look like it. So I'll pull it up. I might just, if you go to the scope and sequence, Bunny, and you
Okay.
the live online session, there's that YouTube link. And that will take you to here. I might just, if you go to the scope and sequence, Bunny, the live online session, there's all right.
Their teachers learn to use technology to engage their students and use more technology in STEM labs, STEAM labs, all kinds of instructional settings.
Good. So it seems like a theme coming through is using technology.
STEAM labs.
And some of the things that we hope to share through the course content, as well as through our collaboration, are strategies for inquiry and strategies for meaningful research and authentication of sources. So let's keep moving. Thank you guys for sharing in the chat. And I'm going to go back to screen share. And we are going to take a look at, now that we've looked at some of the aims of the course, we're going to take a look at some of the people in our class and some outrageous introductions. So this has been really fun, and this is a tool that I know many of you guys are familiar with, Flipgrid. And we picked this tool because it's a great way to have a video discussion. And, you know, we're all across the state. Some people are on vacation and we're still able to see each other's face. We're still able to learn from each other in this type of setting. So if you haven't already done so, you can still complete your video introduction. That'd be great because it's been a blast watching them. And so if you want to follow me, anything that's read in our session slides will take you out to what it is we're talking about. So let's go out and we're going to watch just one. And Flipgrid said this week that all grids had to have a password until further notice. So that's why this one is locked. And the password is secret. We're going to watch. We're going to go there. All right, so let's see. This one cracked me up earlier today. Where is she? Where's Cicely? Can I see her? Oh, Cicely must have, oh, there she is. Okay, so let's watch Cicely's. And then what I also want you to note is
hello, everyone. My name is Cicely.
The collaboration that's already happened inside of this Flipgrid. All right, so let's hear her story. And as we listen, let's see if we think that her outrageous introduction is fact or fiction.
Riley, I am from Valdosta, Georgia, where I teach 5th grade at S.L. Mason Elementary School, the best school in the universe. My outrageous story is one day while my husband and I were at the drag strip in Cecil, Georgia, this lady approached me and she was like, hey, do you want to race? I was like, yeah, because I have a need for speed. So I went up to my husband and was like, hey, Rouse, I need your keys. He was like, why do you need my keys? I said, because I'm going to race. He was like, what? I was like, yeah, me and this lady right here, we're going to race. So he gave me the keys because he believes in me. And so this lady and I took both of our Mustangs down the track, had cut an excellent light. Did I win? I don't know. You tell me. Is this story even true? We'll see. Look forward to working with everyone, and I'll see you all on tomorrow.
All right, so Cicely's story is fabulous, as are many of yours in the class. I'm thinking of Daisy's dog and Deanna's frozen spit, all kinds of great stories. So in the chat, if you guys will type fact or fiction, whether or not we think Cicely's story is fact or fiction. And as you guys are typing that in, hopefully, like you see the power in this type of tool to get to know one another. And also, you can use this to see who has similar roles to you in the state. We have all kinds of different educational backgrounds, educational passions, and then start collaborating outside of this Flipgrid too. So if you make a connection with somebody on here, keep it going. All right, so if you have not done your outrageous introduction, please do, and to do so, you click on this green button and it takes you through, and the prompt is here, and then also to leave replies on each other's. Here's a resource that you might want to bring to your students if you decide to use Flipgrid. It is some tips from Holly Clark on creating great video posts. So, you know, you don't want to have the Blair Witch effect, is what she calls it. So here are just 8 tips that her and her students came up with for making good video responses. So Bunny, can you tell me in the chat, what are people thinking? Are they thinking that that story is fact or fiction?
Well, I'm not seeing the chat right now, so you'll have to ask Diane or Sharita.
Okay, Lady Diana, Sharita?
At this moment, I don't see any feedback in the chat room.
Okay,
Carrie, can you hear me?
I can. Hi, Diane. Hi,
Okay, I
Sharita.
finally got my computer where I was connected to the correct Hangout I was living in too. But I was seeing the chat in the earlier window of everybody's comments participating in the chat, but now I can't see that chat, but I can see you and hear all of you.
Okay.
So I gave up one to get the other. I don't know, maybe I should go out and come back in.
Or you can, if you open up the YouTube link that's linked in our scope and sequence,
I'll go there.
that's where the chat's happening.
Okay.
If you open up the YouTube link that's linked in
I
our
got
scope and
it.
sequence,
I'll go
okay,
there.
that's where the chat's happening.
Okay, so a while ago I was in here, but you couldn't hear me.
Nope.
I got it.
Yeah, so there are two different things going on, the Google Hangout and then the YouTube Live. So the Google Hangout is where we can share, and then the YouTube is where people are viewing and able to chat. So if you can pull up that YouTube link and let us know what's going on in that chat, that'd be awesome. All right, so let's keep moving here. So I'm going to share my screen again. Get that back up. And we are going to look at the scope and sequence, which is the super duper important document that we have been working with. So I'm sharing again. And in the online session notes, we are on slide 4, if you're still with me. And in the online session notes, we are on slide 4. You're still with me? All right, Diane, I'm gonna mute you. Okay. All right, so here you can see, and if you'll click on this red link, it's going to take you to our scope and sequence. And this is that super document that it's gonna be a living document that we come back and forth from. As you can see today, it's where we added the link to the live session as well as the presentation slides from today. So if you want to get in here with me, that would be perfect. So everyone get to the scope and sequence. You can get to it from our slides. You can get to it from the scope and sequence document. You can get to it from our webpage, however you want to get to it. And you can see for week Getting to Know You, we've worked on the orientation videos. If you haven't watched those, please do. It gives you a pretty good overview of the class. We talked about our introductions. We also request that you use a Google account for this class, because since it is a HyperDoc format and everything's online, we will use a Google account so that you can interact with those resources. If you have any questions about using a Google account, please feel free to reach out to me or one of the other course facilitators, and I'll help you with that. Also, there are suggested due dates and times. So if you can't get to a due date and time, that's fine. Or if you're working ahead, that's fine. But we do have it on there so that people can work within that week. We have a lot of collaboration opportunities and documents, and we would like people to be able to be in those same documents and see what each other are thinking around the same time. It's like if you're already on week 3, you're going to be working up there all by yourself. It's okay to work ahead in week 3, but then come back and see what other people have done and interact with them there. Okay. Also, please share your ideas using the Seek Find Georgia hashtag. That would be awesome. We already have a good little stream going on there, so please keep that up. All right. Let me take a quick minute to pause and see what type of questions might be happening in our chat. Okay, so is there any questions that you guys have at this time before we dig in to week 1 and actually do the question formulation technique? So Bunny, Sharita, Diane, are there any questions in that chat coming through?
Yes, the questions are coming
So
through,
Bunny,
but
Sharita,
there's
Diane, Are there any questions in that chat coming through? Let me,
Yes, the questions are coming through.
Are there any questions in that chat coming through? Let me,
Yes, the questions. Yes, they are coming through.
Are there any questions? Okay. Let me, so Sharita, what kind of, is there any particular question we need to address as a group? Okay. So Sharita, what kind of, is there any particular question we need to address as a group?
At the time, no, we just saw a couple people talking about the echo.
Sharita, what kind of, is there any particular question we? All right. Just let me know if you need me to pause. Otherwise, we'll just keep it going. And it seems like the echo's okay if everyone else is muted. Is that right? Hopefully. All right. So let's get back to our scope and sequence. And this is June 4th, so we are officially in week 1. And the aims, or what we hope to focus on in week 1, are to encourage student questioning and inquiry and embed student online search skills. So we're going to present a couple ideas and strategies through our course design, and then we're going to ask for y'all's input on what you guys use as well. All right, so again, we are hoping that this is a good springboard for some investigation for you guys, and that you guys can dig a little bit deeper and go into the rabbit holes that you so choose. So let's go ahead, if you have not already, come over to where number 1 here on our scope and sequence, and you're going to make a personal copy of that HyperDoc if you have not already done so. So you'll click on the link. If you've already made the personal copy of your HyperDoc, this would be a good time to pull it up. So we're going to click on this in our scope and sequence under week 1, and we were able to create this as a template once it loads. And you'll come here, and you see right now you can't do anything with it. So if you come here and you click on Use Template, it's going to make you a copy. And this is your copy of the HyperDoc. So we ask that you use this throughout the 3 weeks of the course to help guide your learning, as well as that scope and sequence. Okay. So if everyone will get here with me and your copy of the HyperDoc, and we are going to look at the engage portion. Once you have your copy, you can, it's private to you. So you can organize it how you want, you can name it how you want, but it is private to you at this time. All right. Now what we're going to do for today is we're going to work on the engage portion, which has us using the question formulation technique. And this question formulation technique is one I've used throughout the year, and it's one of my favorites. And it encourages students to come up with their own questions. Instead of me presenting an inquiry question or an essential question or a driving question, whatever question you're designing, it encourages the students to come up with their own. So we are going to model this now and get some folks in there going through the QFT. And this technique is research-based and backed, so it's one of the ones that we wanted to highlight. So what we'll do is, you see this statement here. So I found it on the internet. That is what we want you thinking about. Okay, so think of that statement. I found it on the internet. I think if you've ever heard that before in your classroom. And then come down to number 2, and it says engage in the question formulation technique to generate questions you have about that statement. Okay, so if everyone will click on number 2, and we're going to go out to this shared collaborative document. All right, so we're going to open up the QFT document. Let's see how many people we get on here. Good. All right, so we've got about 9 folks on here. 11, perfect. Cool. So we've got 14. Y'all are good. You're good at following instructions. It's hard to see because I can't see what y'all are doing, and so it's interesting to teach this way. All right, so here are the steps in the QFT, and we'll go through each one quickly. If you're doing this with students, it takes a little bit longer the first few times, but then they can become really well trained in the use of this, and I have some extra resources that I can give to you if this is a strategy you think you'd like to use. So we're going to start, step one of the QFT is to start with your Q focus, and it's the starting point for student questions. So if we scroll down to page 2, you can see it says, I found it on the internet. Okay, so that's our question focus. I found it on the internet. All the questions we come up with are going to be around that statement. Okay, now that's step 1, identify the Q focus. Step 2 is you're going to ask and share questions related to the Q focus. So here are the rules, and you need to follow these rules, and if you use it with students, they should follow these rules. You want to ask as many questions as you can in the time that you're given. Do not stop to discuss, judge, revise, or answer the questions. Just get it out, all right? So this is like a brain dump of questions. Record down every question exactly as it's stated. So if you were working with somebody, you would write down exactly what they say. And then you want to change any statement into a question. So you want to make sure that everything ends with that question mark. Okay, so we're going to do this. You guys are going to use that Q focus, and we're going to ask questions related to that. All right, so let's scroll down again to page 2. And we can see folks are already in there. So we're going to give you guys about, let's start with 3 minutes. And I'll play a little song as our timer. So we're going to have 3 minutes, and I want you guys to come up with as many questions you can related to that statement. I found it on the internet. You'll just type it directly in the chart. If you need more room, just add more rows at the bottom. Okay? So everyone get busy. I'm going to play us a song. 3 minutes. Y'all are doing awesome. Keep it up. Okay, right now we're working on our questions. And all these anonymous animals are in here coming up with super questions. Okay, we got about 30 more seconds. So try and put 1 or 2 more good questions in there. See, we've got some wonderful media specialists in here, tearing it up. All right. So I'm going to pause good old DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince and let you guys finish up your final question you want to add to this wonderful resource you all are already creating, collaborating on all across the state. So this is the power of online collaboration. We could do this anywhere, anytime. So we've got numerous wonderful questions. All right, so this is what you would do with your students. Just encourage them to ask those questions. It's a little bit harder for kids, but the more practice they have with it, the better they get at just coming up with questions and not concerned about whether it's right or wrong. All right, so let's jump back up to our steps. Okay, so we've asked our questions related to the Q focus. The next step of the QFT is to categorize those questions as closed versus open. The authors of this book who did the study as well, Dan Rothstein and Luis Santana, they really point to how important it is to have students use closed and open-ended questions and flip and flop those. It activates different parts of the brain. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do here, so we get to practice with that, is we're going to do step 3 and 4 at the same time because y'all are advanced learners. So what I'd like you to do is find maybe 1 or 2 of your questions and mark them as closed or open-ended by putting a C for closed or O for open. And you guys know, but if you're using this with students, you could review what closed and open-ended is, okay? And then after you mark it with a C or O, flip one of your questions from an open-ended to a closed-ended. Or if it's already closed-ended, flip it to an open-ended, okay? So find one of your questions, mark it with a C or O, and then flip it from open-ended to closed-ended or vice versa. Okay, so come on down here and let's do that. Flipping them can be tough. All right, let's see what kind of questions. Okay, good. Good, I see some close-ended. I'm seeing you guys flip them. Good. It's a little bit more difficult to sometimes write a close-ended question when you're used to writing open-ended questions as educators. Good. All right, we'll give you another minute to finish your C and your O, and then we'll move to the next step in the question formulation technique. Okay, good. All right, so we've got some questions and we've flip-flopped them from open to close-ended or close-ended to open-ended. And the next part of the QFT is to prioritize your questions. And so what we're going to do is read over each other's. You can read over your own, but look at what other people wrote as well. And you're going to pick 3 of the most important questions that you come to. And what you're thinking about is which questions would lead you towards deep learning and critical thinking. So which of those questions, based on that, I found it on the internet statement, would lead to deep learning and critical thinking. To signify which ones you especially like, you'll copy and paste the emoji. It's there and it's also down here. Copy and paste the emoji into this column of the document. Okay, so pick 3 important questions and the ones that will lead to deeper thinking, critical thinking, and then copy and paste that thumbs up emoji in the right hand column. Okay, so give you guys a minute to do that as well. I'm gonna do it too. Looking good, y'all. All right, so we're seeing some come through. Good. Seeing some of the popular ones coming through. All right. So take a look at the ones that have the thumbs up and some of the other questions as well. This one, did you find it on Wikipedia? That's a very common place for our students to go to. Who does the author work for? Is there data to support it? Can you find it in multiple places, sources on the internet? Okay. So some of those are the ones that are really coming through. Have others referred to this source? Good. And did anything about the source cause you concern? That's another good thing to ask students to look for. All right, so now that we've generated questions, we've turned them into closed and open, we've looked at some of the questions that resonate with us. If you guys can pick one of those questions that you personally would like to explore more over the next couple weeks. All right, so pick one of those questions and go ahead and copy it. We're going to copy it, and you are going to put it right here where it says priority question to explore. Okay, so you'll go back to your HyperDoc, and you're going to put in here the question that you would like to explore over the next few weeks. And again, you can go away from this question, but this is this direction that we want you to start with. All right, so go back to here, pick a question that you would like to explore, and then you will put it back in your HyperDoc under Engage, Priority Question to Explore, so that you can record it there. So which priority question identified during the QFT would you most like to learn more about, and then record it in the space below. I'm going to give you guys a minute to do that, and then we're going to pause and take any questions, hopefully, that we have coming through before we move on and briefly look at the Explore and Extend sections. So I'm going to stop screen sharing for a minute and see what we've got going on the other side. Okay. So are there any questions we'll give you guys a minute to process. If you have questions coming through, go ahead and put them in the chat. And Bunny or Diane, Sharita, if you guys see anything, please let me know. No questions coming through on YouTube, on the YouTube side?
Carrie,
Mm-hmm.
just a few comments that some people had, frozen document, or either their connection is messed up and they're working on another device and they'll get back to the document, later. So yes, everything will be there from the HyperDoc or the scope and sequence. So if
Okay.
you're not able to access it right now, you can get back to it.
Great. So just a few technical difficulties, no big questions coming through. That's good. If you do have questions, though, please put them in there, or if you have ideas, and then we'll keep that chat going on that side. All right. So to keep us moving, we're going to go back to our screen share, and let's see what else we have for week 2. So we'll have, hopefully you have a priority question that you want to take a deeper look at. And for the next part of week 1, we have the Explore section. Okay, so the focus for week 1 is to look at inquiry, student inquiry in the classroom, and we use the QFT as a strategy to encourage inquiry and student questioning. You guys, we're going to ask you to share some of your strategies as well. And then for the Explore section, we're going to look at some online search skills. And we've provided 2 different multimedia text sets. Oftentimes in HyperDocs, you will provide a multimedia text set for the Explore section. Instead of having like a lecture and taking them through what it is you want them to work with, you provide choices and let them explore on their own. Gives them a little bit more choice in their learning. So we've got 2 that you can choose for, or use both. But the first one is Google search strategies. And the second is the Sears Discover database search strategies. Russell at Galileo put this together for us. So if you want to use that as to guide your learning, please feel free to use that. And then we also have this one that talks about some Google search strategies. So again, a goal of this class is to embed search skills that students can use. So Google, we know that they tend to Google it. So you could embed some of these search strategies. And for the Explore section, we're asking you to go ahead and go through here thinking about the question that you recorded for your priority question, and go through these search tips and try some of them to see what kind of results you yield based upon the question that you personally are exploring. All right, so this is one. You go through here and find what you like. If you use a strategy and it yields a good result, you can record what you learned by inserting a comment with your notes or links to the resources in that box. So that's one way you can keep up with what you're finding about your question as you're using these tips. If you choose to use the Sears Discover, you will need to log into Galileo. It's asking you to make a copy. But you can log into Galileo and then use these strategies specifically for the Sears Discover database to go through and see what you can find about your priority question using these tips. Or just go off and see what all you can find and get excited. Okay. So for your Explore section, you will go through, explore those search strategies, and find some resources that help you address your priority question. For the Extend section, This is where we are hoping that people will share as well as extend on what it is they're more interested in. So this document right here, the collaborative document, is extremely important. So after each week, we will have a collaborative document for you guys to work in. And this is your opportunity to share your insight, your best practices, your ideas, what you've used in class or in your media center. So let me open that up. And this is a shared document as well, so anyone with the link can edit. And what you would do in here, so you say, oh, I liked the question formulation technique, but I also have this really great strategy. You could come in here, find an empty box, you put your name, email, what grade you think it applies to, and then you will share an idea, resource, tool, or strategy that goes with that aim. So encourage student question and inquiry. If you prefer to share something about embedding student online search skills, you put it there. And if you have a resource or an example of application in the classroom, we'll link it and you can put it in this far link, or I'm sorry, far column, right? So this is where we're asking you guys to go ahead and get in here and share. I see Daisy's already in there. That's fabulous. So another thing in addition to adding to this collaborative document, because like we said, this learning is all together. We're providing a springboard. You guys are providing the meat. So if you see something on here that you'd like to know more about or you want to learn more about, so say I wanted to ask Daisy more about this, we're encouraging you guys to use the plus email and then commenting feature. So up here, it gives you instructions for that. So if you'd like to provide feedback or to ask additional questions, you would insert a comment and tag the person by adding a plus, their email address in the comment, so they'll receive a notification. And then we'll get all kinds, you can get all kinds of conversation going over here in the sidebar. So if I wanted to leave a comment for Daisy, I would highlight what I want to leave a comment on, and then I could click the plus for add a comment, or I can also go to insert comment, whatever you will, however you prefer. And then you do the plus, and then their email address. I'm copying it from over there. So Daisy, there she is. And I'm gonna say, this is fabulous. I haven't looked at it yet, I'm just making this up, but I know it's fabulous. How long did it take to develop? Okay, so then you could leave a question, you can comment, and then Daisy will get a notification and she can come in here and reply. So this collaborative document, we'll have one each week. It's where we're really asking for you guys to share what you know and what you've built so that we can learn together, right? So for finally, there's also other extend documents you might want to explore there too. Finally, for each week, you'll have something small to turn in, nothing extravagant. So for week 1, you have a short Google form reflection. And then if you want to see what other people are thinking or exploring, you can look at their responses. So do know that what you input in the form is made available to other people. Okay. All right. So for week 1, that is what we'll do. So we kind of went through the different steps. Made your HyperDoc copy. You'll do the Engage Explore section. You'll check out those week 1 extend resources, as well as hopefully participate in that collaborative document. You'll turn in your week 1 Google form and see what other people are thinking. Share your ideas on Twitter using that hashtag. And then the goal being that you'll collaborate and have your week 1 assignments done by Sunday, the 10th at midnight, so that you'll be fresh and ready to start week 2. Again, you can work ahead, but please come back and see what other folks are doing during that time frame. Right? Now, to keep us thinking and why we're here, to give you something to think about as we are wrapping up today, I'd like for you guys to take a look at this chart and take a minute to analyze the data presented in this chart. This comes from the author of the Make Just One Change book, the question formulation technique author. So take a look at this chart, and after reviewing the data, answer one of the questions in our chat. Okay, so in our chat, tell us, what do you see in this chart? Or what do you think based upon what you see in this chart? Or what do you wonder based upon what is presented in this chart? Okay. So we're going to give you guys a couple minutes to interact there. And then we will do our close for today. Just interested to see what you think about this chart here. I'm sorry. Oop. You need that, don't you? Ladies, it seems like folks are responding in the chat area.
Yes,
Great, thank you.
you're welcome.
And I'm gonna mute my mic, so Sharita or Diane or Bunny, if you guys want to make note of any of the comments people are sharing, that'd be super. So I'm gonna mute.
Sure. One of the first, they're moving in pretty quickly right now. Daisy said the older we get, the less questions we ask. Dana says, I noticed that as students get older, they are less likely to ask questions. I wonder if this is because their curiosity has been stifled. And then Daisy replied, let's see, another one says, Cheryl Fletcher, as students move up in grade level, they seem to stop asking questions. And then someone wanted to know, what do we think about that drastic decline? Why do we think that's happening? I think that's a great question. Daisy went on to say, as our reading skills go up, our questioning skills go down. That's just a few of the questions. We still have a couple more comments coming in.
Give you guys another minute or so to see what you think, see, or wonder. And thank you, Sharita, and for the folks who are participating in that chat. I thought when I saw this chart, and it's in a TEDx talk, it blew me away. And so I wanted to share it with you guys to give you something to think about and applaud you for being here this summer talking about student inquiry and how we can encourage it in our youth, and what's causing this decline in natural curiosity, and so see how we can nurture that. We have more resources to go along with this, so if you're interested, I'll put them in that extend document if you wanted to keep exploring it, but just give you something to think about as you're working your way through week 1 and week 2 and week 3 of our online course. And then finally for today, we want to thank you for being here and for working with us as we worked through our technical difficulties. If you know anything about technology, you know at any time it can blow up on you. So thank you for the other course facilitators for rescuing the day, saving the day. And thank you guys for your active participation. You had wonderful questions, some great ideas, and we'll close with a lovely song for you. And hope that you can go forth in week 1 to seek, find, collaborate, and keep those good vibrations going this summer as you are, like I mentioned before, the lead learners who are doing this on your own will, on your own time, to try and improve your practice for the people and students and adults you interact with. So y'all have a great week, and we will see you next Monday at 4 o'clock. Next Monday, we'll have guest presenters. So if you are interested in sharing anything from week 1, we're going to use that extend document to ask some people to share. So it won't just be me or one of the other facilitators talking. We'll hear more voice. So think about that, and we'll reach out to you. And again, have a great week. All right, ladies. I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast. And if you guys want to hang on a minute, you can. The recording will stop.
I was typing.